Hey everyone, Chang here and welcome to my channel. Now, in a previous video when I first introduced how to do multiplication very quickly, I focused specifically on 2-digit times 1-digit. And from there, I broke it down into two methods, right? You have your multiplication standard left to right and then you just add them, right? As you break it down to different parts. Then you have the other one where you multiply a little over and then you subtract the excess, which is great because guess what? Certain problems, depending on it, right? It would be more preferable to use one technique over the other because you save yourself a few seconds. You all of a sudden look like a boss being able to compute very quickly. But as you start moving on to more complex multiplication, such as this one where it's like 3-digit times 1-digit or even more complex than that, the idea of choosing one or more different method actually ends up hindering your computation instead of helping. Because guess what? As you're trying to process which method's better, you could have just used that time and actually compute it. So I would prefer that you guys pick one method and just run with it. Practice it as much as you can. Now, for me personally, the addition method is better just because I prefer addition a lot more, right? Those of you guys who want to do subtraction method, that's great. You just got to practice on it so that your computation is extremely quick. Now, when we're first starting out, one of the biggest hurdle in terms of trying to compute very quickly is being able to hold the numbers in your head. Because guess what? With 2-digit and 1-digit, that's fine. But when we move on to something more complex, just the idea of holding a number in your head without it in front of you or without a piece of paper actually is kind of challenging. And that's just because we're not used to doing that. So as we practice more and more, we can definitely get to that. But now here's the thing. This is my suggestion, and I'm hoping that some of you guys might have noticed in some of the previous video when I'm trying to do quick computation, all of a sudden I'm saying stuff out loud. So I want you guys to try that as well. When you guys are trying to hold numbers, just the idea of saying it out loud actually helps you retain that number just a tad bit longer so that you can continue the computation, right? And eventually, of course, you guys are going to get to a level where you really don't need to say it out loud. It's all being processed in your head. And, you know, when you're performing and stuff, you really want to get to that point because, you know, it's not as amazing if all of a sudden you're saying your work out loud. So that's what we're trying to do. Now, for more complex multiplication like this one, the 3-digit times 1-digit, there's actually 3 categories. And I'm probably going into a little more detail than a lot of people really want. But I'm hoping that by going into these specific categories, you guys can see where your hiccups are and then practice that specific component or that specific kind of problem, and therefore you guys build up your game. So the first one is the one that we really want because that's usually the easiest one. This is what we want to call a no carry, right? Basically that all the numbers compute very quickly. You can add them together. You don't have to carry any numbers over. It's just amazing. And of course, for performance sake, right? Because there's no carry, you can immediately start saying your answer and they're just thinking, oh my God, you computed right away. But when you're saying your answer, you might not be necessarily done. So for example, a problem like this, you're immediately looking right here, that's 400 times 6, that's 2400. And since this is gonna be a no carry, you can start off by saying 2400 and while your brain is still computing 10 times 6, which is 60. And hence the no carry, because when you add them together, it just goes straight down. Right? No number is really changing in any way, shape, or form. That's 2460. So immediately when you're saying 2400 and you're computing 10 times 6 is 60 and you just say 60, boom, your answer is right there. And it seems like you just computed a lot faster than, well, you might have really computed. Now, the second category is easy, okay, but not as easy as the first one, right? This one is not as preferable. This is what we call the one carry. Now, there's 2 different types, right? There's the one where you carry in the middle and there's the one where you carry at the end. But the idea is that you're always carrying one number. So you have to be very careful of that. So for example, this one right here, we immediately can see that's 4,500, right, as the first one. And then that's going to be 630 and then all of a sudden 27. Our carry in this case is right here, right? 5 and 6. So when you add those guys together, that's going to be an 11. So it's carrying over. So just starting off by saying, oh, 4,500 or 4 something, right? You're immediately going to be in trouble. So this one you actually have to compute all the way. And of course, that one should still be fairly simple. Your addition skills at this point should be up to par. So what's that? That's 5,120. Oh, no, 57. Sorry, I missed the 3 right there. 57. 7, right? So that's the second one. Now this one, the carry's at the end, so that's when you have to be careful as well. So here we have, that's 4,200, then you have 280, then you have 56. And notice right here is where the carry is. Still a single carry, but it's a carry at the end. So in this case, what is that? That's 4,536, right? This last one is the one that we're actually really dreading, because this one, as you can guess, if this is single carry, what's the next complex one, right? You have to carry twice. So in this case, it's going to be 1,800, 180, and then all of a sudden you have, what is that? 54. Okay, so you have to carry twice. You have to carry this part over, and notice that that actually ends up forcing you to carry another one over. So in this case, what is that? That's 2,000. So make sure I use the right marker. 2,034, right? I'm hoping I did that correctly. Yeah, all right, 2,034. So there it is. This one has 2 carries. Once again, here, and then because you have the one over here as well. So 2 carries. So these are the 3 categories. So as you guys start practicing more and more, notice which one you get hiccup on, right? If it's this one, you just have to practice addition. This one, you have to practice addition with the focus of being able to carry a single number, right? This or this. And then of course, all of a sudden, once you're getting really good at this, you got to be able to focus on carrying multiple numbers at once. In this case, 2 numbers, because we're working with, well, 3-digit times 1 digit, right? So there it is. Now, I'm going to show you guys 3 more numbers, or 3 more problems, and let's see if you guys can do this very quickly. All right, so here's another 3 problems. Now, once again, we're trying to be able to compute it very, very quickly, preferably even faster than having to write it down with pencil, paper, or calculator. So that means we have to get used to the idea of holding numbers in our head. And once again, if we can't do that, say it out loud, because that helps us hold it a little longer. So for example, this first problem, the first one, 6,300. 6,300 plus 140. That's 6,440 plus 49. 6,440 plus 49 is 6,489. So saying it like that helps you retain that number. So let's just break it down to basically what I just said. That was 6,300, and then we add 140, which gives us 6,440. Then we did the last one, that's 49. We add it together, that's 6,489. Okay, the second one you guys can guess, right? Because the first one, there's no carry, that's the simplest one. The second one, there's going to be a single carry. So we have to be vigilant about that. So let's see, the second one, that's going to be 1,600 plus 400, which gives us 2,000 or 2,000. 2,000 plus 72, so it's 2,072. There we go, right? We have 1,600, 400, and we add them together, that's 2,000 or 2,000, and then we have our 72. And there you go. 2,072. Plain and simple. Now the last one, right? This one is going to be the double carry, right? None, single, double. And that's the scariest one. So once again, we got to retain number, and it's going to be even harder because all of a sudden we're carrying numbers left and right. So let's do this. That's 4,500 plus 630. So 4,500 plus 630 is 5,130 plus 72. So all of a sudden you're carrying that again, right? So 5,130 plus 72, which gives us 5,202. So let's write it all out. That's 4,500 plus 630. That's going to be 5,130. And then all of a sudden we have our 72, which is going to carry again, which is going to give us 5,202. So that's what we have to be careful of, because guess what? Once again, we're carrying twice. Right? All right, so there you have it, 3-digit by 1-digit multiplication. Now, once again, that is not the focus of this video. The focus of this video is on strategy. There's 2, addition or subtraction. Whichever you prefer, practice on that. I prefer addition, I practice on addition. If you prefer subtraction, you practice on subtraction. Other than that, we have to see what we really need. First and foremost, it's the retention of the numbers. That's the biggest hurdle. So when you say things out loud, you hold it on a little longer. I do it still just because, guess what? Sometimes my brain doesn't work as well as I like it. So holding on to it a little longer allows you to continue the operations, the arithmetic, in this case, the multiplication, right? The other thing is to realize which part are you stuck on? Are you stuck on the no carry? If it's no carry, then that's just plain addition. You really need to get comfortable with that, practice that. And if you're stuck on a single carry, then you got to seek out those specific type of problems just to hone that specific skills. And of course, once you get good at that, if you get stuck on a double carry, that's the one you need to work on. Now, thank you for watching this video. I mean, it's breaking down multiplication into even more specific than we really like, but hopefully at least this helps you isolate which part you need to practice on. And when you do that, you're gonna do multiplication like a boss. All right? If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video.